dropped out of high school, goes on to play a neurosurgeon on Grey's Anatomy for its signature role. But imagine it, if you dropped out of high school and you're playing a neurosurgeon. So talk about stress. So in that sacred space, as we will do today, we're going to talk about the stuff that really matters. And for him it was, I had to learn coping techniques. I had to learn to not be picked on. Because when someone called me to read, it was terrifying. I was going to mix it up, and I was going to be tongue-tied. So for a brief moment, those of you in the audience, you can swoon. Those of you at home, you can swoon. I want to give you just a 2-minute glimpse of my conversation with Patrick Dempsey, and then I'll show you another live freedom forum we did with a hilarious guest, and then we're going to dive into our own. So without further ado, here is Dr. McDreamy, Patrick Dempsey, on our Freedom Rider Forum.
How we address kids when we call them special ed. When you label someone's a little label line, and it stinks, and that becomes your identity. And meditation is supposed to get away from them. And you have to be very careful with that. With everyone. How does someone with dyslexia take their that pain and expand their passion, expand their purpose? It's hard and it's scary. You have to go into the fear. But someone wants to go away, is the way is the way. Right? Which makes a lot of sense, in the sense that what's in the way is reading. And what do you do as an actor? You read. You have to do a reading, a table reading, or a blind reading. So I'm constantly confronted on a daily basis with my children. And so my question for you, if there is a student watching, and there is, and a student who is struggling, which they are, what could you tell them about overcoming this obstacle, overcoming this adversity? I think you have to really look at what your passion is, what you really love doing, and focus around that, and learn around that. Because then you really want to do, you'll have a reason, what's your goal, what's your objective in that, and then try to go after it. That's an opportunity to get your thoughts and your feelings down on paper, and then you can look at them, and it allows you to release that. So you're not holding on to the emotion of those things and those feelings. You don't necessarily want to send it to a person, you're just doing it for yourself. That do it in the morning and do an evaluation in the evening. Do that to create stuff. And you have to understand, everybody's a unique individual, and there's gold in who you are, just being who you are.
I know. If you are joining us from home, Patrick Dempsey is not in the building. I'm sorry. I didn't want you that those that couldn't be here to be having more FOMO. Patrick Dempsey is not in the building, but Pretty Tony's in the building. Tony B is in the building. That's not better hair than Patrick Dempsey, and I think we would all agree. Tony B, I'm referring to, that was Tony B, who was on the cover of the Freedom Writer's Diary, every edition we had, the first edition, the 10th anniversary, and the 20th. The last little segment I want to show you is really fun, and I can say this because he's a dear friend. We don't know how engaged our next guest was, but he's a father figure, and he was one of the producers of the Freedom Writers film. And he invited us over for dinner, and it was kind of a daunting thing. I had a car full of folks, Freedom Writers, shoved into the back of my 2007 Prius, and we were those people that arrived way too early. So we just kept driving around the cul-de-sac, realizing that everyone that had a security camera probably thought we were terrifying. That next guest is Danny DeVito, and Danny DeVito welcomed us into his home to talk about his love affair with this freedom writer story. So Tony was with me on that experience as well. What I loved about this live Freedom Forum is in the middle of a pandemic, we put out a signal, Danny, will you do us a solid, will you do us a favor, and will you let us do an interview with you live, uncensored in the world? And he said yes. So let's check out a couple minutes of Danny, and then you're gonna see the real stars, because Danny and Patrick produce, direct, and read what other people write. But we're gonna hear from the actual writers themselves, who are the authors of Dear Freedom Riders. So let's check out Jaden DeVito, and then we're going to introduce our guests.
So what I'd love for you to do is, for those kids who are watching, excited, that you might know their name, and if they have beautiful Nevada. She's born today. And she's a beautiful girl. And this year we get to be her holiday, her first holiday where she gets something new, something that's her first. We told her we're going to be her Santa. So if Nevada is watching, or sweet little Howard is watching, or any of these cute kids who get some time, some talent, and technology, you could have been that kid years ago. What would you tell them about persevering?
Well, I think that it's applying yourself and being positive and being considerate and it's best when you care for others. It's best you've got to care for yourself. You have to care for yourself as well. But it's like always good to respect other people's space. It's always good to respect other people and embrace them as your brother and sister. Because that's the way we're going to get through everything. So we're going to make it. I mean, this world, it is a beautiful place. If you look around, there are a lot of crazy things going on. But, with each other, compassion, kindness is big. Also, it's really interesting, the whole thing of freedom. Like I was thinking about the kids in that classroom and people coming, taking the book out of their hand. As I say, you have to have the freedom to do things. You have to allow everybody to be free.
I love that Jaden DeVito knows Nevaeh's name, and Nevaeh is in the room with us. So, a little shout out for student author Nevaeh. I got a couple tweets that just came in, I got a couple questions and shout outs, and then we're going to have a panel up here. So I got a tweet that says, "One light, many candles." That is our room here, that's ablaze. Passionate spirit and passionate density equals freedom rider spirit. Amen, ladies. I think this came from a lady. And another shout out to some of the folks that are joining us live. A special shout out to Nick Dara in New York. Happy birthday, Nick. We wish you were here to sing you happy birthday. Because every day is Nick Dara's birthday. And Sam Norwood, our Freedom Rider teacher, joined us from London. Sam Norwood is joining us from London. So as we are on the slide, if you are a Freedom Rider teacher, if you are a Freedom Rider author, proclaim yourself. I will hear about it in real time. But without further ado, we saw something actors. We're in the land of Hollywood. Tonight is the Oscars. We don't care about the Oscars because we've got our own party. We've got our own stars in the room. We'll have our own red carpet when we need to. But we don't need a red carpet to get these fabulous folks on the stage. So I'm going to ask our Freedom Rider teacher representative, Dr. Bradstreet, to join me, Jaden to join me, and Jeanette to join me. Ready to join me, Jeanette and Jeanette, let's get them. Let's get Jeanette and Jeanette to join me.
The price is right.
It's not the price is right.
Okay.
So we're going to Sheena and Jeanette next to us. For those of you at home, these are our amazing Freedom Riders. You are not seeing double. Do not do anything to your screen at home. They are Freedom Riders, and they are also identical twins. And I still can't tell them apart. I have in my hands the Freedom Riders new book, Dear Freedom Riders. Sit right next to students, right here. And everyone in this room is going to get an advance copy tonight. I just want the book. So you that are not here, you have to wait Those of us that are in the room, we get it tonight. So they're gonna get a chance to hold it. But I'm gonna go ahead and sit down. We're gonna keep those tweets coming. We're gonna keep those questions coming. There's paparazzi in the audience. We're gonna leave here and go up to Kodak Theater for the Academy Awards. But while you're here, I hope you're not blinded. I'm gonna ask the established folks questions for about 10 minutes and peppering in a question or two from the audience. So sitting beside me is Dr. Frida Brax, a freedom writer teacher and a proud mother. Sitting beside me is one of the most handsome men in the world. He's in the land of Hollywood. He might be discovered on this very Jaden. And so say hi to all your fans around the world, Jaden.
What's up?
And we roll to the pack. Our twins, Shanita and Shanette. Which one's which? No, Shanette are going to be Team Jaden today. All the way. So we're gonna, for those of you that are watching at home, we're gonna watch later, we're gonna have 3 different panels. This is our first panel. Each panel is gonna last about 10 minutes with some questions. And so I wanna dive right in and use this time wisely. I wanna start with a mom bear. I want to start with a mom bear, Dr. Brax, freedom writer and teacher extraordinary. You came to this place to become a freedom writer and teacher, and tucked in a room at the Hotel Maya in Long Beach, California, was this beautiful young boy a few years ago. And he thought, we are the freedom writers, he's a little freedom, get him in the room. And he never looked back. And Jaden immediately became part of the freedom writer family. So as you were being indoctrinated as a freedom writer teacher, what was it like to bring your boy into this family?
Well, Erin, it was surreal. As you mentioned, it was my first time coming out here and learning about all things freedom writers, and just the love and the community, sense of community that I felt in the room from the fellow freedom writer teachers was just awe-inspiring. And before we had planned to come, Jaden knew that I was coming to California. He absolutely loves it out here. And he begged, Mom, please let me go with you, just please let me go. I won't get in the way, I just want to go. And I said, well, Jaden, you're gonna have to stay in the room. You're gonna have to, do your own thing, because this is something completely separate. You don't have anything to do with this, but okay, I guess I'll, pay for your flight out there. And when I say that was the best investment I could have ever made, because it has completely changed his life bringing him out here. Erin was so gracious when I told her, hey, by the way, I've got my kid here with me. And he would just love to just come and meet you all, because I've been going back telling him about all the wonderful things that I'm learning. And of course, everybody knows Miss G is so loving and sweet, and she's like, bring him, I want to meet him. That's all I can say is magic. It was like they were two magnets just coming together. And he got acceptance, not only from Erin, but from the teachers. Don't look at me, Sue. It was just so beautiful, because as a mom, I've always prayed that people would love and accept him the way I do, and that they would see the special gifts that he has in him. And it was like, for the first time in our lives, we had a huge family that was embracing Jaden, and he could feel it, and the love was oozing on both sides. And I can never, ever, ever thank y'all enough for what y'all have done to him. You have changed his life and mine, because anything that's done for our children is for us. We take that, and it's just, y'all will always have a special place in our heart. And we just thank the whole Freedom Writer family, because our lives are forever changed.
So Jaden, you once shared that making friends was hard. So we're going to ask you in a moment a question from somebody online. But they say watching you has been amazing. So we're gonna ask your question in a moment, but I want to give a shout out to some of our Freedom Rider teachers who are peppered throughout the world. A special shout out to Crystal Russell, who is sponsoring Hannah Wells. Hi, Hannah. St. Clair, originally from South Africa, now in New York. Hi, St. Clair, we miss you. Brianne Thorpe in Canada is watching live and sweet Brianne. And Deborah Baker is also joining us too. We'd like to call her Deborah. So before we dive into a question for Jaden, family, sitting with twins, and you two were part of the Freedom Rider delegation who welcomed in Jaden as a teenager before we even started this project. I want you to hold up your arms, because Jaden's got a bunch of things around his, he's got all kinds of bracelets. And we got some bracelets here. We got some bangles. But what the Freedom Riders don't realize is since Jaden came to the space, he's been wearing his Hotel Maya bracelet since he left. How many years ago was that? Three. He's been wearing, I hope you take it off and clean it off a little bit. It is his forever bracelet. He's been wearing this bracelet for 3 years. And he's going to have a lot more bracelets to wear in the next few days. So you ladies learned that Jaden as a teenage boy was in a hotel room. You were much more fun than a video game or a hotel room. So why was it so important for you to embrace Jaden into our family?
It was important to embrace Jaden because it was automatic. We accepted Frida, and he is a part of her. So we never want to exclude anybody or think that, oh, I'm only taking this one, the rest of them can go. That's not even how we function, and it's really common sense. You're going to take a part, you take the whole, or don't take it at all. And it's just that simple. So when we saw Jaden, we see her. When we see Frida, we see Jaden. So that was really Well, for me, I didn't know who Jaden was. I saw his light first. So for those of you that understand what I'm talking about, when you see someone's aura and it shines brighter, but you don't get a chance to meet them, meeting him was the first. That was the nucleus first. So to find out who he was everything. But I already felt inside your light before I even knew you. So it was a must for you to join our family.
We are looking at a book. Originally, our goal was to have Jaden be on the cover. She needed to kind of reach out, but I wanted Jaden originally on the cover. And so Jaden did a little photo shoot for us back home. Sent us all, showed them some of the looks, like I had about 30 looks. Some of the looks that I got Jaden. There was the serious look, the pondering look, the friendly look, the flirty look. Show them the looks. Look at the hero. Great But there's a question from the audience, starting with a compliment that I read. But they want to know, how do you feel today? Because they said watching you has been amazing! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. So you are light and you are amazing. How do you feel?
I feel a lot of things, but probably the biggest thing is accepted and welcome to a big family, a big universe, with a lot of people, a lot of different generations, different backgrounds, different stories, and just we all came together these 4 days just to celebrate us, because at the end of the day, these 4 days are to celebrate us, everyone in this room.
To feel celebrated. For those of you at home, what you might not know is when you are that kid who is not welcome into a classroom, when you are that kid who doesn't have pizza parties and slumber parties. When you are that kid that doesn't have loving friendships, it's hard. So Jaden shared that with us, and we felt a sense of responsibility to model what love looks like, to be inclusive and accepting, and to be friends. If you are a friend of Jaden in the audience, can you raise your roof? There are so many hands in the air, we're hooting and hollering. You can't see what Jaden sees, but I think if you are at home, I want you to see what I see. I see my friend, Dr. Rifer, who we call Tom Pye. Son. I see those tears, Tom Pye, because I know that you worked on this story of Jaden's, about what it's like to feel difference and be treated differently. So there's a lot of teachers, Gail, who has kids who are treated differently. You have a daughter who was treated differently. So we feel you in the audience, we feel you at home as well. Jaden, what is it like to give a voice to anyone who is on the autism spectrum and has been treated differently?
It just feels really good to be in this, it feels good to be an inspiration to people like me and the people like me going forward in life. And that will live on forever, even beyond me. So that's what makes it all worth it.
What you don't see here in this incredible, I just got a tweet that says Flame app, so if you have a phone, line tune. I mean, there's like a concert, whatever, well, there's a phone with Flame. There's enough flames in the audience, and we're going to pretend this is a concert. There's a line in Jaden's story that was aptly called Asperger's. ASSBURGERS. And it's almost lunchtime here in California, so we're going to be thinking about burgers. Can you tell us how you came up with that name, ASSBURGERS, to describe what a diagnosis was given to you as a kid, and you didn't really understand what it was, so you called it something that was more fun?
When I was diagnosed when I was much younger, they told me I had Asperger's syndrome. And obviously I was very young, so I didn't know how to spell it. So I just knew it was Asperger's. The ass part, I saw it.
So you can see the word. So in these stories, you're going to hear some of we gotta sometimes laugh to keep from crying or laugh when we're crying. And we anointed our sweet Jaden as our author ambassador. And so ladies, you have seen him with a posse. There are so many student authors in the room right now that he is coddled and taken care of and embraced in his family. So what has it been like watching Jaden in our Zoom 203s and then seeing him with his posse come to life?
I saw the person yesterday. When I got here, I was like, him and Yolanda. Wherever Yolanda. And they were like, you good? You got your name tag? Let me check that. Pull out my name tag, put it on me. Okay, you good, right? All right, you go check in, we're gonna go do something else. Okay. So if you run into him and his team, don't worry about it. They're gonna take care of you, they're gonna make sure you're good, and they're gonna move on to the next person. But be aware, he's around, or someone of his extension is around. Just be aware.
Mama Bear, Dr. Rice, for you to have given your son independence and agency to immortalize his story. You are a professor, you are a dean, you are an academia, and some of the folks in our brethren did your son dirty because they didn't do what we would do. So what has it been like for you to have your son go back to school in a very different way, the school life, the Freedom Rider School?
Y'all just have to forgive my emotions because this is huge for me. As you said, since the time Jaden was in preschool, I have been his biggest advocate. I fought for him since he was very, very small because nobody understood. My baby was different. I knew that he had so many gifts and talents within him, but people had to let him be him. They wouldn't let him be himself. They wanted to have him fit traditional norms. And Jaden has always been Jaden. And it has taken us 16 years, I think he was 16 when we came here, something like that. It took us 16 years to finally find people who completely got Jaden. And it's just been life-changing, extraordinary. He's been able to meet kids like him who've had so many challenges and adversities to overcome. He didn't have lots of friends. That was every day before he would go to school. I would pray with him. And he would pray with me. We would say, God, please let me be a good friend today and let me have good friends every single day. Because that's what I've always wanted for him. I always try to encourage him, even if people aren't talking to you, you try to be nice and go find somebody who doesn't have someone to talk to. And many days and nights we cried because he didn't have a friend or somebody would talk about him, somebody would make fun of him. But throughout this time with the Freedom Riders, you all have just embraced him wholeheartedly. And he's been able to give that love back, and that's what has really, really made me so happy and thankful. But just to finally see him loving school, loving writing, I would hear him on the phone at night, helping other students study, and I'm thinking, Jay, you having somebody else study? Because I used to have a full team trying to make him study and learn. And he has just morphed into this young man that I'm so proud of. And so many of you have helped me raise him, and I just thank you.
It is Sunday, so for a lot of us, we are here in this is our church. There's another Jaden out there that might need a moment to pray for them. So can we all just bow our heads for a moment, and can you say that prayer that you said for Jaden, for another kid? And we'll all just bow our heads and maybe say along with you. So maybe we say once, maybe repeat after you. Let's pray for another kid who needs to have friends and be a good friend.
So every day we would say, God, please help me to be a good friend. God, please help me to be a good friend. And please help me to have good friends.
Please help me to have good friends. Amen. It was answered. Our prayer was answered. And some questions. Love you and your bravery. Jay, big hugs and love. And Freedom Riders and cheers and stories and laughter and hugs and love. And Kleenex on the other way. The little lake on the Kleenex. This is our last question. This is going to be from you, Jaden. This is from Nick, a Freedom Rider teacher in New York who loves your story. He said, such an amazingly important story, Jaden. It's been amazing seeing the stories grow. And so what is your advice as an author in Dear Freedom Rider for anyone that needs to find that friend, to find that voice, to find that pose? Do the pose again. Let's see, you want to see another pose? Do another pose. I like this one, you had that one. So anyone that's finding their inner pose, finding their inner voice, finding their inner friend, what is your advice?
just to be yourself, and if you be yourself, then you'll have hundreds of thousands of friends.
Raise your roofs, stomp your feet. Let's give a little love to our first panel team. The light, the love, the smile. So as this panel is going to be leading the stage, it's going to be hard because I looked over at the next team. It's going to be Team Log of your already sobbing, and it's all thanks to Frida. It's all thanks to Frida. So as we ask our next panelists to leave, there are going to be hugs on the way. We'll see you at home, but we'll see you in this office. Let's bring up Team Lonnie as Team Jaden takes their seats, and they cry, and they hug, and they celebrate. So what you guys cannot see as they're coming up here is the hug. It's like a torch house of the outgoing student and the incoming. So let's have Mama Bear, you sit here. Let's have Team Leilani right here. We're gonna have Renee and our amazing freedom writer, Erica. While they're taking their seats, I got a couple tweets and I got a question that I will ask. Jaden, you are more than a friend and have graced my life with your light and your life. You are my brother, and that is Team Kyan. Oh, that's a good one. You are more than a friend. You are. And this is our open moment. Somebody wrote, you get a book, and you get a book, and you get a book. That's for everybody. Which is ironic because the board asked when and how can we get the book. So the book ironically comes out on Tuesday, March 30th. We have pre-ordered the book for these fine folks in the room that are authors, teachers, and mama bears, and freedom writers. So keep your questions coming. Once again, for my panel, we're going to start with Renee in a moment. But we've got the ever so exquisite Erica, who is the most incredible writer in our midst. And she's in the Freedom Writer's Diary, and now she's present in Dear Freedom Writers. So let's hear it for Erica, original Freedom Writer. So we know there are moments make us cry. And I looked over when Jaden was up here, and I just saw you sobbing. And I see you crying right now. We're a long way from Jersey. We're a long way from Patterson. But it took a little mini miracle for you, Mama Bear, to get your daughter here. This is Jean Leilani in the house. So I'm so excited to ask you questions about getting from Patterson, New Jersey, into this room, celebrating your daughter. And we might need some of those Kleenex. Those of you in the audience, hook a sister up. So get ready, and we're going to ask you some questions as well. This beautiful little queen is Leilani. In Freedom Writer World, we're all Team Leilani all day, every day. So Leilani had to be here. She had to be here, and she is here. And she's holding on to books. She was holding on to her brother Jaden a moment ago. She sparkles. And she flits and she floats. And these women collectively raised enough money to leave Patterson, New Jersey by talking to mayors and assembly people and superintendents to make this dream a reality. And when they reached their goal, they started helping others in the audience. All because of Team Leilani. So having you here is a gift and we're gonna ask you some really special questions in a moment. But if you can't see the smile that is lighting up the room, is the captain of this team, and it's Renee. Renee Cleves Wright, who had a dream and a mission to find students, to find a story, to find support, and to find her way here. So before we ask any questions, because you are the captain, I want to give you the microphone. And I want you to share something special about this dream and why you're gathered in Team Leilani.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to all of my Freedom Rider families. And I want to, since Erin says we can be ourselves, I'm just going to be a little animated. That's my authentic self. And I want to start with, when I think about educational impact, there was still good news despite the pandemic, losing more than 800,000 loved ones. And there were many losses and so much more, yet there was good news. Erin, when I think about you, you have demonstrated and continue to demonstrate excellence. You are a true visionary. You are authentic. You are selfless. And you exude seamless leadership with class and style. You have spoken and tapped into the power within many young and not so young lives here today and not here today. When I met you in 2007, I thought it was a moment. Then, in 2009, when I too was a Freedom Rider teacher co-author, teaching hope, I thought it was still a moment. And now, in 2022, I see the Freedom Riders Foundation is truly a movement. Over the years, you have been consistent in providing information, best practices in helping educators continue to reach and teach others throughout the world and beyond. Personally, it was a moment I thought when you were sending those emails and the mails from UPS, just still giving the update, when I thought that I wasn't as active as I needed to be. Yet, you still was consistent. I thank you for that. And so now today, how did I get here? How did I get here? In part, it was you planting the seeds of hope and inspiration. And as a result of planting the seeds, 13 years later, I passed the baton to my student, Leilani, to be a co-author of this book that will be launched on Tuesday the 29th. And I know you may not open it at this moment, but we have gifts for you. My husband and I, we thank you, and we so appreciate you. So I have a gift for you. I want to also acknowledge my friend, my brother, some say my boyfriend, and it's Matt. Matt, I have a special gift for you too. I thank you so much. I thank you so much. And Yesenia, I thanked her this morning. I love you, sis. And that's my spiel for the moment. Thank you.
We're diving into a couple of questions, but going backwards, this is actually for you, Frida, Dr. Bradis. Hashtag the power of a praying mother. Love you, Jaden and Frida, the power of that praying mother. So I want to start first and foremost with you, Erica, as a Freedom Rider author, writing not only the first version in the original book, but also coming back for the 20th anniversary and writing a new and improved diary. when you found out these amazing students were going to follow in your footsteps, and you know how hard it is to write and put it out in the world, what was your hope and your thoughts and your belief for these budding student authors who would pick up the baton and run?
First and foremost, it was an honor. I am so proud of Leilani and all the student authors here and my fellow freedom writers who helped make this dream a reality. But it was hard. It was hard. The endless nights, emails, Zooms. I felt bad for some of the staff that had to stay until 1, 2, 3 in the morning while I finished getting the perfect word. I wrote so many responses. I was part of a lot of groups that had answers a lot of these difficult questions that the students had and stories. I had to step away from a lot of them because self-preservation is key. If you're going to help, you have to help yourself first. But it was an honor, and the fact that I could write something again to help someone else was so beautiful and so touching. I'm so honored, Leilani. You're an amazing writer. Everybody in here is so proud of you, and I'm proud of everyone who's in here who's part of this. I'm honored to be here. I always say I'm a better writer than I'm a speaker, so I'm going to say a lot. But you know, and I could hear you like pray, like I did a lot of that too, you know, and I think about my boy who's 15 and all the stories that he has, and I see him in every single one of you in here, and if I can just keep writing and keep passing the baton, then I've done good, and we've all done good.
Damn good. Damn good. So, you are a mother. You are sitting beside a mother who is having a heart leap out of the chest, who has to drink lots of water and stay hydrated because the tears are flowing. As a mother who had this dream that we're going to go to California and you're here to celebrate the best of the best. The only writer we have from New Jersey, Team Leilani. What does that feel like as a mom to be here honoring your daughter for academic excellence?
I'm very excited to be here. I just want to say I'm very emotional. Even when we did the Zooms, I was home crying. And I was hearing the stories when we were getting ready to start doing the fundraising, and we didn't know how to do it, and we were calling Matt like daily, like 3 times a day. And Leilani was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do the video. And Matt gave us some questions, and that helped us, as to put the wording together and all of that. And Matt was like, I'll help you do the video, I can do it from here. I don't even know how he was gonna do it, but we got it, we did it. And once we did it, then I heard that they were using Leilani's video to inspire other kids to make their videos, because they were feeling the same fear and the same, like, I'm not gonna do a video, I'm not going on there, I'm not, and I was like, that's awesome that our little improvised video that we did, I said, come on, we have to do this today, we gotta get the ball rolling, help inspire so many other kids to do that. I thought that was amazing. And, something that we did so simple helped other people. So I hope that everything that we do helps inspire and helps other people to do what they need to do, whether it's a video, whether it's writing, whether it's talking. So that's what I hope that this book brings to everybody.
I hope that the mayor of the city for Patterson, New Jersey gives her the key, because he gave her a check. So I want a key and a check. Why not? it was a force of nature. They literally knocked on doors, asked for help, asked and ye shall receive. And this story is so timely and topical because this book was written during COVID. And Leilani, you have the quintessential COVID story in this book. And Nick wanted to tell you, because he helped edit the story, he said, Leilani, it was such a privilege editing your story with Yoni. You made it. So Leilani, your generation had to go to school at home in pajamas on a screen with all of the fears, especially for those of you on the East Coast, in those large cities where COVID ran rampant. And people were losing their lives and losing their willpower. So you have to write the story of your generation. So tell us about what it was like to sit down on a computer and write the COVID story.
It was kind of difficult because I've never done it before. Sorry, I cried.
Let's hear it for Leilani.
You know, it's very hard to meet new people, especially in a time of pandemic. And I'm very grateful that I had so many people there for me, like Jaden, you know, he would literally text me every day just to see how I was, you know, and you know, there were so many people who helped me during when I wrote the story, you know, and I thank my mom and Miss Bryant because they had helped me too, and you know, my school, the mayor, because when we had to do the fundraisers, all I thought about was, I don't really think I'm gonna make it. And literally, not even an hour after we posted GoFundMe, I had gotten $1,000.
People give. Their heart, they give their time, they give their wallets, they got you pitching, you're here. Ow. Renee, you were so driven. You put it out in the universe. There's a lot of people, praying mothers and praying teachers who were like, we're gonna get here. You just knew she had to be here because she had to be with all these folks. So how did you keep hope alive for a little girl who went through the worst of times so that she could have the best of times?
That little girl used to be me. And so when I think about my young life, it takes a village. And I think about all of those people, those teachers, those neighbors, all of those adults who inspired me. Why can't I inspire someone else? Faith, that's nothing. Faith comes without works. No, faith without works are dead. So as Fannie Lou Hamer would say, after you done prayed and prayed, you got to get up and do something. And that's exactly what you did.
Now you can see what we are all to you, Leilani. Someone just said, be selfish, be greedy, or go home. She had to be here. So what I'd like to do, I want those lights in the audience again, because I want to light up our girl, Leilani. There are a lot of amazing, look at all the lights, look at all the lights. Oh. This is I will ask this question, and I'll ask one last question. Leilani, this is actually from one of our Freedom March teachers. You can't see us at home, but we are a sea of lights like we're at a concert, illuminating and lighting our girl. Deborah wrote, Leilani, what is one thing that you learned from writing your COVID story? Was that one thing that we can all take away from the process of writing this story?
You know, during the pandemic, my siblings, they were hours away. And I was really alone. But you know, with writing the story, it showed me that being alone sometimes will bring you somewhere good. Darkness will bring you somewhere good too.
Bring some light, look at the light.
And you know, especially when arriving here yesterday, so many people came up to me, and it just showed me that I do have people there for me.
Yeah.
And people who really show me that I do matter. And I'm very grateful for that.
Last question for Leilani, and then we're gonna meet Team Pine. What Leilani said is with so many kids who didn't get that text from Jaden. Jaden announced he had like hundreds of thousands of friends. Imagine how many texts Jaden sends a day if he has hundreds of thousands of new friends. But Leilani's always in the first wave of text. So for those kids at home that don't have a Jaden who's texting them, that don't have a teacher who's cheerleading, a freedom writer and a mom who says we're going to take a risk, we're going to think outside the box. What you said is I want to matter. We want all kids to matter. And I think this is what this book and your story is about, is mattering. So I want you to look at the camera, and I want you to look at all these beautiful folks, and there is a little Leilani Summer who's alone and afraid. And I want you to look at that other version of you and tell that little Leilani, you matter. You are not alone. And if you're lucky, Jaden will send you a text too. But tell that little Leilani, wherever she may be, that they matter.
You know, you might not feel like you matter now, but there's going to be a time where many people are going to come to you and show you that you do matter. And that maybe where you're from, there may not be people who like you or think you do matter, but you are going to meet that one person who will show you that you do matter and that you do have a reason to live this world.
Hugs from mamas. We have an amazing group of mamas, proud mamas and teachers. We're going to send you guys that. I can tell you my presents. Can I be live?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm nervous. They watched me last night. I'm not good at opening presents, so my body hold this. Is this a Team Leilani shirt? Hold on. Not very good at opening things. Sorry. Ooh, glitter. Oh. Look at this, look at that. Okay, this is worth its weight in gold. I know what this is because I saw them and I was jealous. Okay. I can't do this. Sorry, I'm slow with this, guys. Look at this. Yeah, one more. Pearls, and look, there's more. There's more. Okay, hold this. Oh my God, it just keeps coming. It's the gift that keeps giving.
And now Matt, come.
Now we can see that Matt.
All right. It's only live, right? It's only live. Oh,
So for those of you at home, Matt held this amazing gift. Look at that. This is Team Leilani all the way. So with presents in hand, hugs in hand, I'm going to ask you lovely ladies to give a hug to Team Clan as they scoot off. Team Clan is coming up. Buddy, you can join us on this very stage as our Freedom Rider ambassador. Give me a hug before you leave, sir. And come on down, Team Clan. So our last and final panelists are going to be a potpourri. Kind of, we're going to put you on this side, so you can sit next to Bonnie. And I'm going to put my sweet man right here, Jill, right there. For those of you that are watching at home, have a seat right there, right? We have authors in our midst, we have doctors in our midst, we have a son in our midst, and we have an amazing freedom rider in our midst. But we are all here because of Team Kind. So let's hear it for Team Kind in the house. So before we begin, we want to introduce these amazing folks. Team Kind wrote a love letter to his dads. And he wrote a love letter to his dad, but it was really for society that this is what love looks like. How lucky am I? And what's the problem, folks? Because I want my dads to teach me how to love. And not only do they teach their young boy how to love, he is the gift that keeps giving. Like Leilani, he was inspired by Team Leilani to create his own GoFundMe. So Leilani put hers out in the world, and suddenly she was getting help from friends and classmates and folks in their community. Kanye was ready to push go. We got an alert from Manny, a freedom rider teacher and proud father. He said, 7 a.m., it's going live. Goal was $1,000. By 11:52, that same day, they had reached their goal. And when he got to a goal of $1,000 over what his goal was, Kanye spent the last 3 weeks giving away money, like Santa Claus, to the folks in this room. You get a little money, and you get a little money. So there's spaces, if you got a little money for Team Clan, raise your hand. Okay, Deborah, Jody, Kara, Brennan's got some help, the Brown's got some help. If you are in this room, Aretha, you got some help. If you are in this room, each and every day, these proud dads sat down and learned about philanthropy and the art of paying it forward because of their son. Sitting beside this beautiful son is a proud freedom rider who got to meet in Zooms to look at this beautiful story along with Erica, who was just up here, and say, yes, how do we tell the world what love looks like? So Bunny, as an original freedom rider, sitting with this beautiful family, what does love look like?
I think I always knew what love looked like just growing up, or I felt it, but the moment where I understood what love was when I met Aaron and the rest of the freedom riders, and that's just when I sort of blossomed. But love is just this all-encompassing universality feeling that we all have that we just don't all get to experience. And with Kyan, it was just an instant gravitational attraction towards the story because it was just a moment where I get to express that love. But love is just something that I think we all have. It's all inbred within us, and it's just waiting for that moment to just blossom.
My freedom rider, proud mother. Manny is a freedom rider teacher, and when Manny originally went through our freedom rider teacher training before the pandemic, you brought your husband, and you brought your son, and he has grown and blossomed like 3 feet. And he has a rich baritone, he might even sing to us at some point. But when you first brought him into our lives, he was just a little boy in elementary school. And so as this process has evolved, and he's gone from a young boy to an author, what has that been like for you to bring him into this fold and to watch your son evolve?
I just want to say that, Frida's prayer for all of us parents, dads and moms and guardians is all the same. We just want our children to go and be safe, and be loved, and be accepted. And watching our son just like in the last 2 years, I mean, he was 9 when he first met Aaron. And, now he's only 11. And he's just amazing. He's the greatest gift we could have asked for.
Dr. Dale. I can say doctor. Because in this room, you and I have each other's backs. You are in the profession of healing as a therapist who teaches other therapists how to lead with love. What has it been like in this journey to find your soulmate, to go through the adoption process, to find, as they call it here, love looks like crying, and hashtag Team Ginger. So what is it like for you as a father, as a husband, to be that proud dad and to see your son getting the accolades, to break some glass ceilings, to break down some walls, and to build bridges?
We're very proud of Kyan. Danny and I met 25 years ago on our first date. We both shared with each other that we wanted to be parents. And the road to having Kyan took us 9 years in the making. But parenting, no lie, no matter how you become parents, is challenging, but also incredibly rewarding. We're so proud of Kyan. We love him so much, and just feel so blessed to have such an amazing son.
Big heart.
You're the main star. You wanted the world. In a time of activism, Black Lives Matter, you were out marching. You are an activist in your soul. And you said to your parents, I want to go to a pride parade, I want to have a rainbow flag, and they were nervous. And so why was it so important for you to be an activist for all causes, for all people, for all humanity?
Well, personally, I want to make a difference. I want to have an impact on the world this world before I leave it. So.
We'll keep going.
Before I leave, and that impact would, for me, would be equality for everyone.
Did you have equality for everyone? He must have read in history that we're all shooting for equality and equity, but we haven't always seen it. Let's let the youth see it. Let's make it a reality in their lifetime. Because for you, Manny, you didn't see it as a child. You didn't see it as an early adult, and you lived in a community that you were fearful may not believe in equality. So for you, why was this project at first exciting and also very scary when your son became an activist? When he wanted to boldly go out in the world and proclaim equality for all?
I'll keep it short. We live in a very conservative area in California, and One of my first days of teaching, my master teacher quietly reminded me, not so quietly, very sternly reminded me that I didn't live in Los Angeles anymore. So to keep my life private. And I worked in a boot camp, so I understood at that point, but it just sort of became a habit for me. And honestly, just like money, it wasn't until I met Aaron and the crew that I really came out. That I really said, I am a gay teacher, and I am a dad, and I am so much more than that. But having our son challenge us, I think for both of us, we were like, we don't put up a flag because that's not who we are. And him asking us, why not? Why can't we do it? And his friends and his generation and you kids out there saying, why not? Why can't we do it? It's really challenged us, older generation, to really question, why not? We can do it all if we want to. This is one of the greatest countries in the world. I want to take advantage of that.
Earlier video clip of a gentleman from Wisconsin, and you're originally from Wisconsin, Jim's Word, an original freedom writer. And there's something about those Wisconsin men, just noble, and stand up and speak out. So for you as a father, what is your greatest actualization for your son who's about to go into middle school and high school and beyond? What do you want your son to have that maybe others of us in this room have not had?
I think I would mostly want Ryan to be who he wants to be and who he's going to become. I think about how Manny had mentioned, we live in a real conservative area in California. When we were going through the initial home study for our adoption, it was around the time the SI8, the ban gay marriage, block gay marriage, and at least 60% of the households in our neighborhood had those signs in their front yard. And it's been challenging because, especially when Ryan hit kindergarten, we had to then start interacting with a lot of our neighbors that had those signs. And I've been so proud of him and my husband on how we have affected a lot of positive change and have those people that have those signs in our home and we're in their home and we still ask stupid questions at times. But yeah, I really want Ryan to fulfill all of his dreams and reach for the stars.
Two last questions, one for me and one for Ryan. So one is a freedom writer. What you guys did is you challenged society, you challenged norms, and Ryan did it at a much younger age than you guys did. So what is it like to pass the baton in the form of him to someone who's young? He's our youngest writer in this book. And so to be the youngest writer in this book, what is it like for you and Eric and all kind of folks that have met in Zoom to build him up and to cheer him on? What is your greatest hope for him?
I am just so proud of who you are and just how confident you are and the conviction you have at such a young age to know yourself, which is something I never had at your age. And maybe even just an ounce of what you have now. I'm just so amazed. And I was just a shy kid growing up who didn't understand the world, let alone the issues that we're dealing with. And so for Kyan to just be so passionate, he's even inspired me to be more passionate in my life. And could I say I have passed the baton? I think he passed the baton to me. Truly, and I'm not exaggerating because Kyan reminds me of why I'm here. And that's just to be a voice. And he's actually inspired me in so many ways and my life to live more authentically and to just be proud of who we are and to show the world that this is okay to be ourselves, it's okay to be gay, and to have such a young gentleman be able to say, I don't know you, but I love you anyways, and I want equality for you, has just been eye-opening and just something that I'll take to my grave forever.
I need the hooting and hollering again. I need everyone to shine their light on this boy. The youngest author, our little ginger snap, teen ginger snap. Look at those like taking it away. Baskets. Reflecting. Oh, you sure can. And keep those lights going while Brad Papa says something before our last question.
For our friends from Florida and our friends from Texas, Tara, we are with you, we are praying for you, and we are really praying for equality for all.
Someone just said, create your own path, project others' path, just like how I created this. Oh, I got some last few. Love makes a family, or nothing else. That's from Tom. And kick the sign down. Whichever sign that is. So, kindness, the lights, the attention. I think we might even need a makeshift drum roll. We look at drum roll to add a little bit more to the drama of our last question. You just want it to be right for everyone. You are out in the streets with signs, you are on your computer with words, you have picked up a pen and you have written a story. So I want you to tell everybody in this room and around the world, once again, why is it important for you at 11 years old to fight for others who can't fight for themselves?
Because you need to help people. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your story is. Everyone needs help at some point, and you can be that source of help.
That was drop the mic notice. If you want to learn more, please come back this afternoon. We're going to have some more story notice later this afternoon. If you can't get enough, I can't get enough. Can you guys get enough? No. So we're going to invite you back, those of you that are around the globe, to come back and see this book come to life. For those of you that are part of our Freedom Rider family, we wish you were in this room with us. For those that are, thank you for bringing the light and the love and the leadership to all those that are not. Thank you for joining us. We will see you this afternoon. For those that can be with us, let's hear it for Team Jaden, Team Jaden.